While it may sound like a backwards concept to us, embracing a person's inequality is actually what embracing equity is all about. While many listening may think I'm referring to the Stone Ages, it is important to realise that it has only been just over 150 years since the first woman attended a university, 105 years since women were first able to vote, and 100 years since women were permitted to become lawyers in the UK. So why are we now striving for equity, and what does it actually mean? In its simplest form, it is making reasonable adjustments to enable a person to have the same chances of success as the next person.
It has kind of been plain sailing for me, and I think it's based around timing. It was a very female-dominated area. Marketing tends to be anyway, but my peers, my colleagues, and my managers were all female. And they would talk about the struggles that they were having on the 9 to 5 and going off because the children were sick. But fast forward to when I had my own business, obviously it was a real privilege, I guess, for me to be able to have children and run the business at the same time because it offered great amounts of flexibility. By the time I came back to work, flexibility was huge anyway because of COVID. But with regards to IDR, I get to commit myself to a challenging role, and I also get to look after my 4 and 6-year-old. I'm able to go and sometimes pick them up from school, drop them off at school, pick them up if they're sick, and there's absolutely no judgment.
Not all solicitors' firms are created equal, and no two employees are created equal either. But many firms will look at trainee recruitment as some sort of Hunger Games style process. For us and for many smaller firms, the recruitment of trainee solicitors is not just about numbers, it's about finding the right person for the right role. So this equality approach in the recruitment of trainee solicitors can actually result in unhappy people not staying on post-qualification and at an early stage in their career potentially being pretty disillusioned with their role. It isn't necessarily about hitting marks or hitting achievements in an assessment centre, but rather being the right personality fit for the role. When we look at recruitment of trainees, we look at the people, we look at the individuals, we look at their own circumstances, and we look at how they are going to fit within the business, but also how the business fits with them and their lives. The best way that we know how to apply equity to that process is to allow prospective trainee solicitors to come and work for us as paralegals. It allows us to get to understand them and what matters to them and how their life needs to fit around work and how work needs to fit around their life.
More recently, I've been doing my LPC as well as having a toddler. So I've had lots more thrown at me over the years, but that's why ending up at IDR like I have, it's been hugely beneficial because it takes into account my circumstances and doesn't give that blanket tailored approach. So I'm now on a training contract with IDR and I do that part-time and on a flexible arrangement, so I can do it around my childcare. So if I have to cover a gap within childcare or go and pick her up from nursery or whatever, I don't have the additional pressure of having to be present at my desk within the working hours. I understand other firms still are very traditional and won't offer training contracts on a part-time basis, which if I'd have had to stay within that environment, I don't think I would have continued. I think I would have had to choose between my career or my family, which is not what you want, having worked so hard for so long. So working the flexible hours allows me to be present at home, but also progress within my career. And it's all due to the equitable approach that's been taken. And I think it creates a very inclusive environment.
I know that we're really proud to be able to offer different experiences to our colleagues and meeting their needs. Obviously, the business has to be met, its needs have to be met, those are essential, but it doesn't have to be the expense of those working within it. And so I'm really pleased to hear that what you're saying is that actually by coming in, you have this flexible model that works for you